Hello, my name is Jacob Monk. Welcome to this little video about watches. Maybe you know I'm a watch collector. I love watches, and you see a few of my digital watches behind me. And to make you enjoy the view, totally, I'm closing down my camera so now you can see my watches. Of course, this is only a sample of my watches. I have 19 watches altogether, and they are all digital watches with displays, LCD displays like the watches you see here. And they are all coming from two brands. And these two brands, they are, I open my camera again. Here I am. These two brands are, well, you can guess. The one brand is probably the most popular brand in the world. It is made by a Japanese company. It's produced in Thailand, Malaysia, or China, or Japan. And the name of the company is, of course, Casio. Casio. Here you see one of my Casio watches. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe I have to show it this way here. Yes, in front of my body, so it will be shown the right way. The picture behind me, it is a mixture of a combination of Casio, one Casio watch, and 6 other watches. And these 6 watches, they all come from China, like Casio does, but they are made from another brand. And this brand is called SKMEI, SKMEI. Well, I started collecting Casio watches 1 or 2 years ago. It was at the start of the coronavirus period. I could see I have to stay at home quite a lot. And I looked at a lot of videos at the internet, at YouTube, and I found out that I like to look at Casio watch videos. It's made by enthusiasts from many countries, mostly from the USA, owning a lot of Casio watches and discussing the quality of Casio watches. And these videos made me decide to buy one Casio watch myself. And that's exactly what I did. And when I had this one Casio watch, it was called F91W. It was actually the most iconic and the cheapest Casio watch you can even get. The first copy of this Casio watch, and I'm sorry, I don't have this Casio watch in my own collection anymore because the collection, it is evolving. So I have sold out of my Casio 91W watches. And the reason is that these watches, although they are wonderful, they can live even underwater. The battery will last up to 10 years. They don't mind being thrown out from a high building from 50 meters, probably even from an airplane. They can survive underwater and so on and so forth. They are very rugged, and I think they look very beautiful on your arm. But they have one problem, and this problem is what made me look further on to maybe find a substitute for my Casio watches. And let me show you here a Casio watch I have here. I've tried to show it already, and it's a little difficult because I can't take it in front of the camera. If I do that, maybe the watch will, yes, here it is. Okay, I'm able to show it in front of the camera. And look here. No, it's not good. I'd take it in front of my body instead. Look here, what's happening when I try to make the light work. Yeah, this is very difficult. Can you see it? There is a small difference. But the difference is not as big as it is in other brands of LCD watches. And that is the reason why I decided to shift from Casio to SKMEI watches. And SKMEI, it is a Chinese combination of Chinese words meaning something like nature, beautiful, and mechanics. I'm not quite sure if it's the exact translation, but you can look it up in Wikipedia. There is a whole Wikipedia page about SKMEI watches. And when you see my watches, and here you have my total collection. As I told you, I have 19 watches. The reason why I started to go on from Casio watches to SKMEI watches was because of the backlight. I think even the cheapest SKMEI watch has a very good backlight. And let me show you, this is probably the cheapest SKMEI watch you can buy. You see it here. And I'm pressing the light. This is the light button. And well, I'm sorry, this is not a high-tech video, but maybe you can see the SKMEI watch. It is quite enlightened when I press the light button. The difference between Casio and SKMEI is that Casio has, in many of their watches, among these, the famous F91W watch, it has only a very weak left-wing light source. And this light source can only make you aware of what hour it is. If it is now 7 p.m., well, you can read 7 on your watch. But if you want to read the date, or you want to read the day of the week on your watch, it will be very, very hard. I would say it would even be impossible on a Casio watch if it's not with electro backlight. But on the SKMEI watches, they have all a very good backlight. And that means you use a little more power from the battery to make the backlight make the reading on your watch easy, because you want to read your watch when it's absolutely dark. You want to read your watch when you're in the cinema, and you want to read your watch on a lot of other occasions. Well, I will just make a little experiment. If I take my camera around here and like this, well, it's much better, but it's not good enough. You can't really see the watch. So I put the camera back here, and you can see the watch, the SKMEI watch. And when I press the button, the light button here, well, I'm not a technician, but I can tell you and give you my word that the backlight is much better on a SKMEI watch than it is on a Casio watch. Just a moment, I have another question. Yes, here. I want to lighten up myself on this video, and that's what I've done now. Sorry, this is so imperfect, this video, but I hope you understand that I really love my watches, and I only buy SKMEI watches and Casio watches because I think they are the only serious contenders to the title of the best watch in the world. Well, what is the reason that some of these watches, maybe all of them, can be called the best watch in the world? Here you see one of my watches. It's the same as you have number 2 in the picture behind me. I have it, the original here. Why is this so fantastic? Well, first of all, it's a beauty to have on your hand with a blue resin strip to keep the watch on your arm, with a very rocked case, so you can even do sports. You can fall, you can knock against doors, knock against a lot of things, and nothing will happen to this watch. Well, it's not a real expensive Casio watch. It's not a G-Shock watch. Probably you know the G-Shock series. It's the series of Casio watches that can be used in extreme circumstances. They cost 5 or 10 times as much as normal Casio watches. But this is only a SKMEI watch. And if you buy it in China, and you can do that, you will have to pay what is around, I would say, $13 or $14. And you can be lucky if you go to AliExpress. That's maybe one of the cheapest places to buy watches. AliExpress, they have a lot of local salesmen to sell their watches. And a lot of these salesmen, they give free transportation. That means you don't have to pay for the post from China to your hometown. I'm living here in Copenhagen, and if I want to have a watch from China, first of all, it will take a long time before this watch reach Copenhagen. And normally it will cost quite a lot of money. I can't tell you exactly how much, but maybe $4 or $5 or even more. But you can buy watches from the sellers on AliExpress, watches without any expenses for posting. And that is because these sellers, they pay the posting themselves. I suppose it's cheaper to pay for posting when you are located in China and want to post for Europe than if you are located in Europe and want to require something coming from China. Well, maybe this is not the real explanation. I don't know. But there are a lot of salesmen on AliExpress that will send you watches without any expenses for delivery. So that means that these watches, they are really cheap. If I take all the watches behind me, I can move my head a little bit. Let me see. I'll do like that. Okay. The watches here behind me, I'll tell you the prices. The first is a Casio watch. If you buy it here in Denmark, it will cost around 250 kroner. And that is about $50. And the second is a SKMEI watch. You can't buy it here in Denmark. That's not possible. But you can buy it maybe in Germany, in England, in USA, or in China. Of course, you can buy it in China, but the other countries, you're not sure, but they have quite a number of SKMEI watches on their websites. And it will cost, if you buy it from a German salesman, it will cost around 10 euro. That means it will be much cheaper than the Casio watch. And I think it looks even better. I think it's a good idea to choose the blue watch, because the quality is probably the same or even better than in Casio watches. You have to understand that it's maybe the same producers in China that make Casio watches and SKMEI watches. I don't know, but there are some big factories making these LCD watches. They have the technology to do it. And if you want, you can order maybe 1,000 watches from one of these factories, and then they'll offer you to have your own name on the watch. You can start up a watch brand in your home country. Someone here in Denmark has started up a brand called SKMEI watches. They are Chinese digital watches with the name SKMEI. It's the name of a Danish city up in the northern Denmark, close to Kattegat Ocean. And this city, they have taken its name and they printed on the watches, and the prices for these watches, it's quite high. But the original watches, they are bought in China for probably for a lot less, maybe 10% of the price that they sell the watches for in Denmark. That's only my personal guess. But you'll see these watches here, the SKMEI watches. For example, watch number 4. It is a SKMEI version of the Casio watch called F91W. I've talked about this watch quite a few times. And I have to mention that all these watches here, they are modified. They are modified. That means that I don't use the original concept of the watch. I changed the concept. For example, in watch number 4, I have changed the watch band. I don't know the color of the original band. It was probably resin, looking a little like band on watch number 3, but I changed it to a NATO strap like here. And if you see watch number 5 with a leather strap, well, I like this watch very much. And the watch itself, it costs about 20% of the price I had to pay for the leather strap. I bought the leather strap in a shop here in Denmark. It was quite costly. It was so-called camel leather strap. So the watch bought from AliExpress will cost you maybe $3 or $4, but the leather strap will cost you $40. So it's interesting to walk around with a watch where the watch band is much more valuable, much more expensive than the watch itself. And the same goes for watch number 6. Also there I have changed the watch band, and it's quite expensive NATO watch band I put on this SKMEI watch, and the result I'm very, very pleased with. Then we have watch number 7. You know, there are 7 watches here, and it equals to the number of watches I use every week, because I change my watch every day. Every morning when I come from the bathroom and dress up, then I go and choose another watch. And of course, I only choose among the watches I like the most. I've always watches that I'm not quite satisfied with in my watch collection. I don't show these watches here on the picture because the 7 watches here are all very, very pleasing watches. I think they are perfect from my point of view. But yeah, I was interrupting myself. Watch number 7 is a watch I got very cheap. I bought it used from another watch collector. And this was maybe the second SKMEI watch I got. And I was so pleased with the visibility of the numbers and the functionality of this watch that I really got stuck to the idea that I would like to have more SKMEI watches. And I even want to trade my Casio watches to SKMEI watches, because although SKMEI watches, they are considered to be copies of Casio watches, then SKMEI, they make small improvements on their watches. That means although they are copies, the copies are better than the original. And here I'm talking, for example, about the backlight. And the backlight is very important for me because I'm an old man. I want to have a watch that is easy to read the time on. I can just press a button and then I can see very easily what the time is. And that goes for all the watches I show you here. That is number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And number 1, it's a Casio watch, but it's a very good Casio watch. And the light on this Casio watch is, from my personal viewpoint, not as good as the light on SKMEI watches, but it is nevertheless, it's easy to read. There is a backlight going all around the screen, so you can read the time on the rather big display on watch number 1. And no matter if it's in the middle of the night or what it is, you can easily read the time, see the date, see the date in the month, and see the weekday also. So it's a very good Casio watch. If I should sell out of these watches here, you see in my in back of me, I don't know which one I would choose because I really like all of them. But if I had to choose, I would take watch number 3. This is a special watch because the watch is integrated with the watch band. You can't change the watch band. I don't think so. And this makes the watch band very comfortable to wear, but it also means that it can be quite hot when it's summer, and sometimes you feel when you are using a resin watch band, you feel like you are kind of overheated. But the same could be said about watch number 1 and watch number 2. So the only rational reason I have to say that watch number 3 is not the best of these 7 watches, it is because of the look. Personally, I think that the other watches, they look better. but I can't say they work better. I think they all work the same way, and they're all waterproof to a certain degree. I've used all these watches except number 7. I've been using them in a what I call going swimming and going in a shower, washing. That means they can take water, even hot water. And I've also been in sauna with a few of them, and that didn't in any way disrupt the mechanism of these watches. So it's high quality. They are very sturdy. Well, what should I say more than this? The idea of this video called Better Than Casio is to open the mind of many watch fans around the world, because they think that nothing is better than Casio. This has been my own opinion also for a few years. But now I think that some Casio watches, they are not as good as the equivalent SKMEI watches you can buy for even less if you buy them in China or in a local store. It's not always so that the quality is equivalent to the price. There are a lot of things affecting the price of a watch, and sometimes a watch can be rather expensive and the quality is not very good. That goes for quartz watches. I know all the watches here, they're quartz watches, but I'm talking about analog quartz watches. Now, some of these watches, they have a very low quality. They'll break down, the crown will fall off, the glass in front of the numbers will be scratched, and so on and so forth. And the same goes with these kind of watches I'm showing here, LCD watches. You can sometimes have the case where a cheaper watch has a better quality than a more expensive watch. And I think that is the concept they have in SKMEI. SKMEI is a 100% Chinese company. They buy the watches in China just like Casio do, but they also market the watches, sell the watches from China. They have some special stores in big Chinese cities, and in these stores you can buy SKMEI watches. But I think the majority of their watches, they are sold via internet. I don't know if the same is the case with Casio watches, but I stick to the title, Better Than Casio, not to offend Casio, because I love Casio watches. I can show you about that. I think they are high quality and much better than mechanical watches and analog digital watches. Why? Because they use so little electricity that they can go for years and years without shifting the battery. That means they are very stable. And they are very precise too. When I compare the function of one of these watches with an atomic watch, I have connection to an atomic watch here by my table watch. It is in radio contact to an atomic watch somewhere in Europe. So I can see the exact time here from an atomic watch, and I can can compare the precision of this atomic connected watch to my Casio watches. And I'll say that the Casio watches, they are unprecise around half a second every day. That means it is about 3 or 4 seconds a week. So sometimes you have to adjust your Casio watches if you want them to be totally precise. But that is not a problem because you can always find the manual and find your ways around with the 3 or 4 buttons that you need to use to change the time on a Casio watch. Well, I'm looking here in my box of SKMEI and Casio watches to find one watch I love even more than the others. But I can't find any watch besides the watches that you see behind me. So the watch I found, I would mention, it is this watch here, and it is exactly the same as watch number 4 you see behind me. Well, it is close to the perfect watch. I can't find one single thing that could be improved on watch number 4. It's the perfect watch that I think everybody that loves watches should own one copy of this SKMEI watch. It's better than the F91W because the backlight here on this SKMEI watch is perfect. It's very easy to read, even in the middle of the night. No matter how good or bad the light is, you can read this the time on this watch here. That's why I think it's so perfect and so good. Well, what more can I say? I hope if you have ideas about what is quality when it comes to watches, you write it down in the comment fields under this video. And I hope that you will make videos about your watches too, because I think it's such an enjoyable time you have when you look at watch videos made by other people showing the watches that they really like. And I'll close this video down by making myself invisible so you can enjoy my 7 favorite watches, 1 Casio and 6 SKMEI watches. Well, I think SKMEI is a coming brand in watches. In the future, they'll have even more models, and they will not only make copies of Casio watches, they will make more original watches. They have some models already that are original, but I think more will come. And I hope they'll keep up the good quality and the very good backlight. Okay, thank you for listening to this video. Hope to see you another time.